Objectives are to learn how to strum. That involves upstrokes as well as downstrokes. So when we're learning strumming with upstrokes and downstrokes, we're also going to learn to change our chords a little bit better. The chords that we learnt in lesson 7, we will then be changing over the strumming that we then subsequently learn.
I like it.
And we'll also be learning 3 new chords.
A lot of stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff, yes.
What should we begin with?
Let's begin with the strumming. Up to this point, we've only been playing downstrokes. So, for example, if we were to play a chord of G, which we learnt in lesson 7, all the exercises involved quarter notes and merely playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That type of playing to get used to the chords.
Yeah.
To create some more rhythm and to make music a little bit more rhythmic, we have to implement upstrokes as well. Okay? So what I'd like people to practice doing is to get used to a simple technique, with or without a chord. I'm going to do it without a chord in my left hand for the time being, where we literally just hit the strings down and up, all 6. And just practice that. Get used to that movement. Now my wrist is quite loose. It's not tensed up. I'm holding the plectrum actually quite delicately, or quite loose. I'm not too worried about dropping it. It won't go. Again, a lot of people really cling onto the plectrum. Just try and relax a little bit. It won't fall, you know.
Yeah.
And strum evenly. My elbow is, or I'm moving my arm from my elbow, but my wrist is also loose.
Ah, so there's like almost 2 areas of movement.
2 areas. If I strum again, you can see I'm moving from my elbow, but by the same token, my arm isn't locked in a... which would create a really harsh, unforgiving sound.
Well, any tension that you've got anywhere in your body when you're playing an instrument surely is going to reflect
it's not a good
in
thing.
the sound. Yeah.
Not a good thing at all. So another way I like to look at it is just imagine you're polishing the guitar. That's what it's like. You're moving on the downstroke, your arm moves away that way.
Yes.
And then comes back up this way. So it's just as if you were polishing the guitar. You wouldn't, you know, ram-stam at it. You just move quite gently. Same sort of thing. Nice and gentle. Hold the pick nice and lightly. Again, if I really tighten my grip on the pick...
That's not nice.
You just want it nice and smooth and try and skim over the guitar strings so you get a nice even... as opposed to...
Yeah. So concentrate on the movement from your elbow.
Yes.
With your wrist, is that a conscious movement?
It's not really a conscious movement, it's just relaxed. There is some movement in my wrist. I'm not keeping my arm fixed and moving my wrist like this. It is from here, but this is not an easy thing to see maybe, but this is completely relaxed. It's just loose. If I let my... You know, if you let your arm fall down by your side, you wouldn't tense right up and grip really hard. You just, you know, let it hang out. Same sort of thing, yeah. If you tense up, you'll get pains in your shoulders or your right shoulder, you know. So just relax a little bit, nice and gentle, and just practice doing that. Nice and easy. When you think you're quite comfortable with that, or something else I would just like to say is a light plectrum may well help.
What do you mean, a light
I'm actually using
plectrum?
quite a stiff plectrum here. There's no give or bend in this plectrum whatsoever.
Can you sort of flex it like that?
Not very much.
Right.
But you can also get very, very light plectrums and somewhere in the middle also. And while you're trying to get used to the subtlety of the movement, a light plectrum, which is a little bit forgiving and bends over the strings, might be something to try out if you have any difficulty. So, yeah, a flimsy, lightweight plectrum might be quite useful. A good snippet of information.
Okay, how do we apply this to what we've learnt in previous lessons?
What we need to do is get used to playing this rhythm, or that pattern and that technique, I ought to say, over the chords. So again, if we put a chord on the guitar, I'll put E minor on the chord on the guitar. I think E minor is probably the easiest of the 4 chords that we learnt so far. Then I'll just literally practice playing. So your hands are balanced. You've got your left hand on the fingerboard like you would expect, and you're strumming nice and easily. And then if we go through our Gigajam course notes, we'll have an exercise and we'll have we can dial up the extractor and play to that. So we come down here to exercise 2. I would actually no, let's have a look at exercise 1.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's have a look at exercise 1. Okay, now exercise 1, they'll be able to see, or anybody watching will be able to see from the video the techniques I've just demonstrated, merely down and up strokes in 8th notes.
In 8th notes?
8th notes. Up to this point, we've merely been doing downstrokes on quarter notes, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and... Now you don't want to go too slowly because you need an element of momentum.
Yeah.
So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and...
So it's always the down on the 1, the 2 and the 3.
On the on beat.
Up
or
on the
beat,
and.
And up on the off beat on the and. Absolutely correct.
Okay.
Okay, so practice that technique, watch the video and practice that. If we then move down to exercise 2, what you'll see we've got here is a bar with 2 quarter notes,
yes,
and then 4 eighth notes. Now above the exercises we've helped out by writing D's for downs and U's for ups.
I wondered, I thought that said something. Do.
No,
No.
it's downs and ups. And in going along with what you were just saying about the downstrokes being on the numbered beats on the beat and the ups being off the beat, and this, in the first bar we can see here, beats 1, 2, 3 and 4 are all down beats,
Yeah.
and the ups are on the and of 3 and the and of 4. This creates this rhythm. Now count that out.
I was just about to count.
Exactly, I was just going to say 1, 2,
3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4. And the upstrokes on the and.
On the ands, and of course you can practice that on any chord. Very important because on D7, for example, there's only 4 strings.
Ooh.
A minor's only 5.
So when there are only 4 or 5, on your upstroke you've still only got to play those 4 and 5.
Those are the only ones you're allowed to play, as it were. So if we run this little exercise here, we'll play it on E minor to start with. We've got 6 strings to play, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And we'll run it to the extractor. I recommend you probably run this at maybe 80 or 90 beats per minute even.
Oh really? Why is that?
Yeah, even when you're starting out, just so you've got that momentum and it lets your arm move. It's a natural flow. If it's too slow, it's a bit stilted, a bit too deliberate. You want your arm to fall nice and easily and have that a little bit like sitting on a wall when you're a child, swinging your legs. That kind of movement. You're not really thinking about it too hard. They just have their own momentum. That's what you want.
Okay.
Okay.
Here's the Gigajam extractor. Down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up, down, 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 up, down, up. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and.
Okay.
Yeah, good stuff.
That's the rhythm we're going to be doing today. We're not going beyond that strum pattern. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. We then have to apply that across the chords that we've already learnt. So if we scroll down, now exercise number 3 has got chord changing. 2 bars of G with the rhythm we've just played, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and.
Yeah.
And then E minor on exactly the same rhythm.
1, 2, 3 and 4 and.
The
All right,
key
yeah, I
thing-
see that there. I mean, that, when you first look at it,
Yeah.
looks maybe a little bit daunting.
Looks a little bit daunting, but again, if you just have a look at the rhythm, when you're starting out, you're looking for the downs and the ups, but eventually you'll feel where they come.
Yeah.
Okay, so that won't be written and you know, eventually when you're reading music later on in your band or whatever, the downs and ups wouldn't be written. You'd be expected to know where they fall. Okay. The main thing I'd like to mention here is the final 8th note in bar 1.
The final 8th note in bar 1.
I beg your pardon, in bar 2.
In bar 2.
Which is the last 8th note before we change chord.
There. Why do you want to mention
The reason
this?
I'd like to mention that is when we play that particular upstroke, your left hand should be already off the guitar on its way to E minor. What you can't do, and what a lot of people misunderstand, is they play the rhythm to the end of the bar, and now there's no time to get to the new chord in time. So they'll play 1, 2, let's turn up a little, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. They haven't got any time to move. So you actually lift off and be on your way to the new chord on the final 8th note of the bar. So I'll just demonstrate that. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1.
So there's a slight altering of the sound there, isn't there?
2, 3 and 4 and 1. There is, but only because you're really listening for it. If you held that again up to tempo ordinarily, you're not really aware of it. So you've got one upbeat, which actually has no left hand on the guitar. Otherwise, you've got from G to E minor, it's relatively easy, but I may be going from a G to a chord up here, whatever, and I can't do it. It's impossible. So you've got to have that 8th note gap space, which is subliminal anyway. People don't really hear it.